So let's begin. First, we sit well, whatever that is for you today. Sit in a way that you can roll to the frontmost and innermost edge of your sits bones. Doing a little curve in the low back, and then draw the side ribs back and down, and the tailbone lengthens. From that space, rise up through the crown of the head, lifting and broadening the collarbones. And draw your palms together in front of the heart center. As you settle into your breath, doing the little mini scan of the body, the physical body, to the subtle energy body. Just notice. And let's dedicate our practice today to a sense of upliftment. When we can uplift ourselves, and we can help uplift others. It starts at home, starts on home base. So I know, Allison, you're homeschooling your grandson, and it is joyful. I remember when I did that, it's quite fun, and it's exhausting as well. And then sometimes they just fry out. They can't take it anymore. So we play other games. So we think about how can we bring upliftment even to the most mundane things. So yesterday I was staying with my granddaughter, the 6-year-old, and I was folding my daughter's laundry. There's a big tub of laundry there, and there must have been 1,000 socks in there. There's 3 girls. Well, Erin is the 4th. So I had all these little socks and matching. And I thought, all right, Arden, let's play the sock matching game. So we laid them all out like concentration, and we found this. She had the best time. She went and got a bucket of socks in the back that had all singles in them, and we played the sock matching game. We had the greatest time, and just made me think that you can bring upliftment to the most mundane of actions. And it made us both feel a lot better. We had fun. Let's chant one soft Om. Inhale, exhale. And inhale to Om. Release your hands. Flutter your eyes open. Take your spiky ball, play with the hands, rub it out, either the ball between the hands or do it on the floor. Work out. You can alternate one and the other or do one at a time. You know the drill. You've found your favorite ways of doing it, so do it. Switch out if you haven't switched out already. Rinse and roll. And then pause. Just notice the tingling in the palms of the hand. And then let's just rub out the armpit chest here. Dig in underneath the collarbone to the armpit, down a little bit, above, across, towards the sternum. And then release. Just pause, notice. And work the other side. Dig in deep. Make yourself go, ow. I know, Sherry made a face. Oh, good. Eileen joined us. Good. I didn't see Eileen. Well, this eye is way better. I still can't see that far with one eye. And I can't see Yeah, but I know that you were coming, so that's great to see you. Oh, dig it in. So Eileen, if you have a stretchy band, that's great. If not, you can do it with a regular strap. Oh. And release. Sherry, would you mind locking the door for me? Sorry, thank you. I knew there was something I forgot. You know, that little thing you're just concerned about. All right. If you're sitting on the edge of the chair, sit on the edge, and we'll do cat-cow on the chair or cat-cow on the floor. And you can do, yeah, so, oh, good. Okay, good. Excellent. See what I mean about her? She's just so smart. She really figures it out. You can do it sitting on the edge of the chair, but I like you doing it that way. So soften your knees, Ruby. So there, yeah, and then lengthen. And then as you round and arch, tilting the hips, bowing the head. Inhale, lift the sits bones, slide your shoulder blades on the back, collarbones lift. So if you're standing, what Ruby's doing is standing with her hands on the seat of the chair. Keep the knees soft so you have some mobility in the hips. Really work the hips. The hips initiate the movement. The upper back and the head follows. And then pause and tuck the toes of the right foot and slide. So Ruby, just yeah, just you'll lift straight. Keep the toes on the floor for now. Yep, and the standing leg can be as bent as you want. And press down through the right toes. Pull the right toes forward, and stretch the left arm. So you may not want to let go of. Yeah, so it holds with both hands. Walk your spider fingers of the left hand forward, but are you feeling okay on that balance? And be careful on the chair so it doesn't tip. So Ruby, you might, yeah, I wouldn't lift up. Lift your right leg if you want, or keep it on the floor, and stretch the left arm forward if that feels steady, or keep both hands down to stabilize you. And on the chair, be real careful about that. And breathe. On the exhale, draw the right knee in towards the nose. If you have your left arm up, bring the elbow, or just bring your nose towards your knee. And inhale, extend. So Ruby, it could look like this. I would keep both hands on the chair the way you have it. And then with this one, see if you can pull this knee in and stretch it out. Or you can do it on the wall if that's too far down for you. Oh, look at you go. All right, just a little contraction in, expansion out. And release. Change sides. Tuck the toes of the left foot. Stretch it out. You can keep both hands even on the floor or the seat of the chair, or walk the right fingertips forward. Engage the core, lift your side ribs, scoop the tailbone, and stretch the left leg back, lifted if you want, or keep it on the floor. Stretch the right arm forward, or keep the right hand on the floor, and either elbow to knee or knee to nose. On the exhale, and then extend. So you're just drawing the knee in, and then inhale, stretch the leg back out behind you. Draw the knee in, and stretch it back. Adding the arm is just something you do if you're feeling kind of wild this morning. And then release. And come to Ruby, turn around and sit for a minute just so you can see. So what I want to do is this little feeling study of, so the bones right here, the frontal bones are called the as-is bones. And I always forget what that stands for, but there's something, not the acetabulum, but yeah, we'll come to it at some point. But as is, good enough. As-is bones are here, sits bones are down here, right? So you can touch your as-is bones. And I don't know if you want to touch your sits bones, but you know where they are. You sit on them. Bottom side ribs are right here at the bottom edge of the rib cage, right? Collarbones. So we'll just come, you wait just a second, but you'll come to table. We'll just do, I found this yesterday. It's like, oh my gosh. So if I tilt the as-is bones towards the floor, it makes the sits bones go up, right? Seesaw. If I tilt the sits bones to the floor, the as-is bones pull away from the floor. So we'll play with that, and then we'll work the ribs, and then we'll work the collarbones. So Ruby, you can either do this upside down L at the wall, or you can do it the way you were doing it on the chair, just a forward bend with your hands on the wall or the seat of the chair. But just come to where your torso is facing the floor. All right, and so everybody can do that, get wherever they go. So tilt the as-is bones to the floor, sits bones to the ceiling, sits bones to just sits bones, so you're not pulling the rest of the body. Sits bones towards the floor, as-is bones lift. Do that a few times. As-is bones go to the floor, sits bones lift. Just right there, it's very tiny. You're just working the hips. Can you feel it? All right, now tilt your as-is bones to the floor, sits bones lift to the ceiling. That broadens the pelvic floor. Now pull the bottom ribs away from the floor without moving the as-is bones. That's called core. Do you feel it? Really deep. Keep lifting the sits bones to the ceiling, as-is bones to the floor. Ribs lift up. Now keep that and stretch the collarbones forward and broaden them, hugging the shoulder blades on the back. Keeping all of that, tailbone lengthens without pulling your as-is bones up. Woo! For me, I find some deep core work there. All right, so remember that. We'll come back to that and release. All right, come to standing, please. And find your stretchy band if you have it, otherwise the strap. Now the problem with the stretchy band against this wall is it totally disappears. Yeah, it's about the same color. All right, so you'll come in a bit. And stand well. So the feet are strong. Now the as-is bones and the sits bones have a different relationship to the floor. The sits bones are moving to the wall behind you. Just soften your knees to do that because it's hard to do it without softening the knees. And the as-is bones are tipping forward. Now pull the side ribs back to the wall behind you without changing this relationship. Then the collarbones lift and broaden, rise up. Tailbone lengthens all the way down to the floor and pull. The elbows move back. And right here, as soon as the elbows move back, where do the ribs want to go? They want to go out. Exactly. So you just keep that little relationship, and it's like a little adjustment. Here, we've done this a lot. You guys have done it, but we're just paying a little more attention to it today. And breathe. Pull the elbows back. Top and bottom of the ears move back towards the wall behind you. And release. Shake off. I know, right? It works deep. All right, come in a little bit more. So you're maybe 6-8 inches apart. Like that. Against the black t-shirt. All right, stretch up. So you're straight up. Now, if the shoulders are tight, you come a little farther apart and you bring the arms or you bring the arms slightly forward. So you don't have to be straight up because you can see my ribs just popped right out there. So if I can't keep the ribs in and the shoulder blades down, then the arms come slightly forward. Now pull the band apart. You shouldn't be able to pull much, and then let it come in a tiny bit. Exhale, pull apart. Pull the shoulder blades down the back as you're doing this. As exhale, pull apart, inhale slightly. So you're not snapping back, but you're just not even letting the full tension out. You're just giving in some of the tension. And yes, if the shoulders are tight, being wider in front, you're still getting a lot. I get a lot of work this way. Anywhere you do this, you're going to work because you're pulling the shoulder blades down the back. Nice, and release. Upper body stuff. We've been holding a long time, hunching against the storm. So we're going to work it out. All right, behind you. Now, I will not fold forward on this, but that is an option. So the first part of it is legs are strong, inner thighs move back. That's another way of saying lift the sits bones, and tailbone lengthens, pull the side ribs back, keep the side ribs back, lift your collarbones, shoulder blades slide down the back, and then lift and pull. And notice what happens with the head here. The tendency is to shove the chin forward or drop the chin to keep the head neck neutral. So you're lifting and pulling, and then tiny lower, not a big movement, but pull away. And not, when you release it, you're not completely letting go of the resistance. Keep some of the resistance. And again, if the shoulders are tight, you just let out on the strap of the band a little bit. You can do this with a strap if you don't have a stretchy band. You just get a little different resistance here. I like it. Firming up the triceps a bit. Who wants bingo arms, right? One of my students, Renee, called them bingo arms. I said, what? And she says, bingo. All right, release, shake off. Take the strap. Now you can do this with the solid strap, but I think both of you guys have a stretchy band at home. Step on it, about even, and then pull your feet apart and then pull up. So if you got a straight strap, you can improvise. So your feet are a little bit wider than hip width, outer hip width apart. Plant through the soles of the feet, bend the knees, inner thighs move back, tailbone lengthens into the space, side ribs pull in. And then we'll pull up where you're just lifting the elbows. And the tendency is to want to do this with the wrist. Just see if you can lift the elbows, point them up. Yeah, more triceps. Now, notice too, the tendency to shrug up to help it come up. Even if you lift a tiny bit and you're lifting from the triceps is better than getting way up. So keep the shoulder blades down. Barking, right? I know, it really gets at it. All right, and release, shake off. So in the studio, face me, take a wide stance and face me. At home, just take a wide stance wherever you are. And place the strap under the right foot. Yeah, so Ruby, you can either do this like wide against the wall, you can turn your mat so you're totally against the wall for stability. So you've just got a little edge, a short edge. You've let go of the right strap all the way. Yeah, there you go. And then if you take a wide stance, turn the left toes out to face the short edge of the mat. A couple of ways to do this. So if the right hand and the right foot, right, have the strap, and how far you ratchet down is up to you. Come to side angle pose, Parsva Konasana with the elbow on, and you've got this to where when my fist is up at my shoulder, I've got some stretch, but not total stretch. You want to be able to go a little further. And if you can't, you just pull out on it a little bit. There you go. And Ruby, you can do this sitting on the chair this way. So if you want to sit on the chair, you want to do it standing? All right, let's see. But you can always, sitting on the chair is a lot of work. So it's not like necessarily easier. All right, so push it, like punch it out. You know you've wanted to do it. Punch it out and breathe. Exhale, punch it out. Slow punch though, like super slow motion punch. Punch it out. And notice that when the strap is under the foot, you have to keep that back foot really connected. If you roll up or don't really glue it down, that strap will come back to meet you in the face. It's called a slap in the face. All right, and push down, rise up. Just because I can't drop my head below my heart doesn't mean we can't do a strong practice. All right, change sides. So it's now under the right foot, and the right foot is, the short edge is roughly parallel to the short edge of, I mean, the outer big toe, little toe side is parallel to the short edge of that. Right toes turn out to face the short edge. All right, ratchet up so that when you're here, like in the strong woman mode, you've got some stretch, but I've still got places to go with it. You don't want it to be flat here. Then just kind of, well, some of that depends on how strong your band is too. So if you've got like one of those super strong steel bands, you might want to let out on it a bit. These are about medium. Okay, and that's still too much. All right, up here, bend the knees, elbow to the thigh, and punch it out, slow, and then resist, pull it back. So coming back is easier, but resist pulling it back down. Pull the shoulder blades on the back, punch it out. Slow, deep, full punch. Punch it out. Punch it out. Let's give it one more. Punch it. Oh, and then rise up. All right, shake it off. Your arm's gonna be wobbly today. Working them. All right. Let's go to the other side and we'll do, so go to your first side, which means your left toes are pointing out wide angle. The left toes turn towards the short edge. The back edge is parallel. Now put the strap under the front foot, the left foot. You may want a block here. If you're at the wall, you can use the wall as a support. Now the strap is in the opposite hand. So whatever is under my left foot, the strap's in the right hand. Hands on the hips and tilt. You don't have to go down far. And the front leg is straight. Yeah, there you go. So you feel a good stretch here, just not right in behind the knee. If you're feeling it behind the knee, it means you probably locked it. So push the shin forward. Then either reach for the block in front of the leg, and then stretch the top arm, pull it behind you, behind your head, and stretch it up. And again, you can do regular triangle if you don't have a stretchy band, or even want to fool with it, even if you have it. Now push the head into the band behind you and move the upper body back and spin the ribs towards the ceiling. Oh. Makes the top arm have a different relationship to this pose. You can't really wing it out of control. And then slowly slip it off your head and come, press down to come up. How you doing, Ruby? No, that's all right. You just go where you go. Stretch it up. And it's sort of like all my instructions are like stoplights in Dallas, you know? They're just suggestions. Unless you've been T-boned as I've been by people running the red light. That's not even funny. All right, change sides. Both legs straight. You can come all the way to the end of this. And again, with the strap under the band under the front foot, you have to really press the foot down. If you get light, that strap's coming up to meet you. And so you have a vested interest in keeping the foot firmly grounded into the floor. Hands on the hips here and tilt. Just enjoy the stretch, a gentle stretch. I've been doing that a lot lately. I think because my eyes are so out of sync now that my depth of field is off. So I've been like kind of, and he said, your balance will be really wonky, so be careful. All right, so lift up out of the straight leg. A lot of times we sink into the right hip here. So you're pulling up and in and over, like arc up and over. And then stretch, pull it behind the head. And yes, you can be here. Ruby, this is a good way to go. Same, yeah, just pull the fist behind. Yeah, pull the fist behind your head. Put the fist right in behind the head. There you go. And push the head into, yeah, push the head into it. And you can straighten up, push the head back into the band or the shoulders, wherever it's touching, and stretch up. If you can come to the block, fine. If not, not a problem. Use the wall or the chair to support you. Breathe. The legs are strong. As the low belly's kind of spinning towards the earth, the ribs and the heart are spinning up to the ceiling. So it's a twist. We just don't always call this a twist. It's not in the twist category of poses, but there is a rotation in the torso. And then push down to come up. Don't smack yourself. All right. Oh, come on. We've blown Ruby out here. All right, come to some seated poses. Come to your chair, Ruby, and I know, right? So the band, I love the band. I've missed it, and I've just decided, since I know who's at home and I know you have all the stuff, then I'm gonna start using it more. It does. Yeah. Yeah. Sherry pointed out that the band throws your, what you thought was your balance off, because now you're getting some pull from an unlikely place. Absolutely. Great observation. All right. Let's keep working. So we'll do Janu Shirshasana. And Ruby, what that is for you is one leg is straight and flexed and the heel's on the floor. Then the other one, you can just turn out to the degree that's comfortable in the hip. Perfect. So for us, we'll pull your right knee in, and somewhere along, I call this seated tree pose, although that's only me. You'll not find that probably anywhere else. But you can have the foot anywhere along the leg. It does not have to be high up. Wherever you are, push the foot, at least part of the toe, the heel doesn't have to hit on this one, into the leg. And the leg pushes back into the foot, so you're having the pull into the midline. Yeah, you got it. And so while you're not touching the legs, you're having that same feel. You got it. Just hugs the muscles to the bone. And then pull this here and pull back. So you have enough to where this is pretty tight as you pull the elbows back towards the ribs. And you just keep tilting. So here, remember the as-is bones. The as-is bones lift up and tilt towards your foot. The sits bones move back. Now pull your side waistline back towards the wall behind you, and your collarbones lift up and broaden towards your toes. The head stays neutral. So neither the chin up nor down, it's just neutral, moving back. And then if you want a little more pull, you do a double wrap, a triple wrap, and tilt the as-is bones forward more. So you feel a nice stretch across the back of the left leg. And release. Now where you are from seated, we'll adjust this in a minute. From seated, you just open it out to the side. So all you've done is lift up and out. There you go. Ruby's got it. All right. Same arm, same leg, wraps the strap wherever you need it, and then you pull. So the elbow comes on the inside, and you pull and tilt over. The right hand pushes the outer right hip down. Oh, feel that stretch across. So yesterday, Maria was working with all the infraspinatus and just really working the back, like workshop level. Oh, and stretch. Come up, change hands. And this one you'll just play with and figure out how far you go. So you'll pull back, and I like to use this hand, tilt. Oh, that's a little bit too much stretch. Come to the end, back. All right. Now push the head into the hand and you tilt. With the left arm, it can come somewhere on the inside of the left leg and push against the leg pushes against, and push the head back and open. Oh. That gets the elbow in place where you're not wonking the elbow. Do you feel this? Yeah. And release. That was so much fun. Can we come out of it, Ruby? I was afraid she's going to snap herself. She's like, oh, that's great. You got deep into that though, right? I know, right? All right, that was so much fun. We're going to do it on the other side. All right, now your other leg, left one, comes in and out. So you're straight out this time. And this leg is not taking a nap. It's not rolling over. It's neutral. Knee and toes are heading up towards the ceiling. First one. So think more, a lot of times when we get in this pose, we think I've got to get my head to my toes, and that causes rounding. Think about your as-is bones, lift the as-is bones up, like really lift them up. And you see how you have to engage the core to do that, and then tilt the as-is bones forward towards the toes as the sits bones move back. Head, neck, neutral. And then a lot of times what happens as soon as my as-is bones go forward, my bottom ribs fly out of control. So pull the bottom ribs down towards your hips, your as-is bones, and side ribs move back to the wall behind you. Then as you pull the elbows back towards your ribs, that helps you broaden the collarbones here. And you can go as deep here as you want in this same relationship, not by rounding the back. Sometimes in this pose, the final one, once you go as far as you can in this position, you do round over. But today, we'll just tilt wherever we need to feel this. And notice, feel it in the belly of the hamstring. You might even feel it in the calf, but not right behind the knee. If you feel it behind the knee, the counter curse is heel digs down into the floor, pull the heel back, micro bending the knee or bending the knee a lot, and then stepping on the gas a tiny bit with the ball of the foot. That engages the muscles and supports the joint. And then release. I like the sound effects. How wide you go just depends on how wide you want to go. So the first one is same arm, same leg. And it's as though you were reaching here, some of you can, but use the left hand to pull. What happens is this outer bent leg hip, the outer left hip wants to pull up as you tilt over to the right. So sit that back down, sit that sit bone back down, and you tilt towards your straight leg as the left hand is pulling the outer right, left hand is pulling the outer left hip down. And you just tilt to the side. It's not a big stretch, but you're feeling the side rib, intercostal muscles are stretching. Still pulling the side ribs down, side ribs back, bottom ribs, front, bottom ribs down. Nice. And then release. Now the crazy one, opposite hand. Don't smack yourself in the face. And then if you need help, use that hand to help and pull it behind you. So you have a nice, I have a pretty good snap here. And then the right hand comes on the inside. If you can place the right palm down on the floor, somewhere on the inside of the leg, do that as you tilt over. So you can tilt over, there you go. Now push the inner leg into the arm or hand, you push it back. Oh, do you feel that deep in the hip? Now push the head back into your arm and point the elbow, arc it up and over towards your toes, your right toes. And then coming out of it, be careful. Help jump. And release. All right. Shake it off. All right, we'll do a seated twist, Ruby, where you are. Just keep your knees from, you don't want the knees to jog in and out. You can hold a block between them or an imaginary block. So for us on the floor, we'll sit a boat pose. And we'll do a twist in a minute, but we're gonna do some core work. So it looks like I like a blanket under me, just tilt back. And again, you're keeping the back not super arched, because if I super arch here, the belly gets soft. So pull, again, the as is bones are lifting up and slightly forward. The bottom ribs are pulling down, and then the collarbones lift, shoulder blades on the back, and you may not come airborne. And so Ruby, yes, you can hold here, and then maybe you just pull the toes, just hover off the floor. You can point your feet to where the toes touch, and then that you're feeling that. Unclench the chicken lips. Don't give me that look. I see. I get that look from my granddaughters. I don't need it from you. All right, flex the feet, point the feet, flex the feet, point the feet. Sherry and I are going to go look mano hands. Woo. Yeah, flex the hands, point the hands, flex the feet, point the hands, flex point, flex point, flex point, flex point, and release. Shake it off. Gotta have some fun. Ruby just gave me the look. It's not fun. All right. So with the twist, then, with seated in the chair, you will do this one where you go here. Just make sure, and just make sure the knees don't wonk out, because that will mess your sacrum. On the floor, what we're doing, the feet are mat width apart, fairly wide. Drop your knees over to the left. And I like to pick up my bum. You can do this on or off a blanket. It's really up to you. And so just go into a twist there, Ruby, because you're not going to be able to, I don't think you're going to be able to knock your knees over. Keep your feet straight. So you'll do this, right? Yeah. So on the floor, to pick my bum up, take your blocks with you behind you, and you'll just be twisting one way and then twist the other way. And then wherever it is, high as you want the blocks, then you just come, maybe you can turn all the way away from where you started, 180, maybe not. Maybe it's at a different angle. The top hip, your right hip is up. There's only one, your left bum is fully on the ground. But I do have to kind of lift up and slide it back a bit to give myself like this, like just kind of keep scooting onto it. There, yeah. You don't have to use the blocks. I find the upliftment of the blocks kind of nice. Play with it. But the inner right knee presses into the earth. Oh, yeah, nice. So this is like an open twist, but I still get a nice deepness to it. I like it. It also stretches the psoas of the right leg, the back leg in this sense, and the hip flexors. They need it, really. Oh, and inhale your way up. You can leave your blocks there, come back to meet them. Come back. Sit for a moment and just notice the difference between the two sides. Yeah. I know that's a hard place to get at sometimes, and it's where the side, the QL, quadratus lumborum, and all of the side obliques get really short when we sit too much. All right, so bump over to your right bum and just pick it up and move it. So your feet are apart; they're not, the knees not snugged over it, and you just keep bumping around until you come to this side. And the back leg, which is now your left leg, both feet, particularly the left leg, I flex it. The front leg, the right one right now, it doesn't really matter what's going on with the foot, but the back foot, I flex it. Press the inner left knee into the earth as you push away from the earth and stretch the spine longer. Spin the ribs. Oh, more to the right. Oh. And you may find on this side you need higher or less blocks. When I get into twists like this, I always say to myself, boy, I need to do this more. And for me, that's just the right amount of stretch and the right twist for you. All right, Come on, back up. All right. So the next one is bridge, and you may or may not be able to use the stretchy band on this, but bridge for you is where you're just working back and you're opening the chest. I don't know that the stretchy band will work for you on this, but you can experiment if you want. So because I'm not lifting my heart higher than my head, Mary taught me this. I'm doing a supported fish bridge. So you can do it with me if you want to see what it feels like, or do regular bridge. So this just keeps me level. I like it so much that I may stay with it for a while. So either your back's all the way on the floor, or you're in a supported fish position with the knees bent, and pull the feet a little closer to the bum on this one than we normally do in supported bridge. So if you're in regular bridge, you can put a block under your sacrum to lift it. Otherwise, take your strap around your ankles and wrap it so that it has not a supreme tension, but a fair bit of tension when you pull your elbows back and place your forearms on the floor. Like we would do robot on the floor, you would have the elbows, the hands up, but this time the elbows are pulling back, and you notice how that opens the chest and creates a little tension there. So on the inhale, lift the hips, and exhale, just lower a tiny bit. If you need to ratchet up the stretch on the band, do that so that the chest opens more. A little lift of the hips, a little lower. So if you're in regular bridge on the floor, you just lift them and a tiny lower, a tiny lift. And you're lifting a little more than you're lowering each time so that it's growing. And the back of the head's pressing down on the floor or the block. And that helps to open the throat. And I've noticed on the fish pose, the fish bridge, oh my gosh, fish bridge, that I can't drop my chin, which sometimes happens in regular bridge. Otherwise you'll roll off your block. And breathe, lower down. Oh. That was so much fun. All right. And then if you're on the fish blocks, roll off a bit and move them aside. And for me, you can either roll on your back and be on the floor regular, but because I'm modifying my practice a bit, and again, it's that notion of universal design is good design. So what works for people with special needs works for everybody. It's like chair yoga works for everybody, wall yoga works for everybody, because we can make it work. But I do this T position where what this does, I'll sit here and this helps. And I like this. So even if you don't need it, try it. Do you need another blanket? Or you get two? Because it will support the low back as we do some core work here. And you can do this in the chair. It works really well for you. You'll just have to keep the blanket like right in behind you like you do. And then this part of the blanket, this little roll goes under my neck here. So it's just a very slight incline. But what I like about it, what I've discovered as in practicing these last couple of weeks, is that it keeps the natural low back curve, and I can feel that resistance when I'm pushing into the blanket. I can really feel a different level of feedback there. Have your band near you and your block near you. You're going to love me for this one. Okay. And then come down. So the edge of the little folded edge of the blanket sort of hits you right at that back waist level, the part where you're trying to keep up when you're in natural low back curve. And then you adjust the one under your head as you need it. So not using the band just yet. Take the block, and Ruby, I think you can do this on the chair. I think we did it before. So the first one is pull the right knee up and place the short edge of the block on the right knee. You can either have your hand on the block, and just here, if you push the thigh into the block and the hand into the block, do you feel some connection into the core? You can do one hand or two hands. You can also try elbow to block and push here. And notice here, I feel immediately I'm pushing my low back into the blanket more. So kind of pull it a little bit away from the blanket, not away, but lighten it against the blanket, and the belly button drops to the spine. Side ribs move to the floor. Collarbones lift and broaden. All right, you can stop here. You can stop anywhere along here. The left hand goes behind the head to support the head in half beach babe. So the head, don't let the neck muscles do this. You want the core to work. So you can adjust this at any point. If you want it a little harder, stretch the left leg out, keep the foot flexed and engaged. Now keep pushing the block into the block with the elbow and the thigh. Oh, pull the belly button up and in. Just lift the head enough. My knuckles are still on the blanket, but the head's just you need a tiny bit up. So a tiny bit of contraction. Pull the bottom ribs in and hover the left leg just off the floor. It's easier higher up. It's harder way down close to the floor. Keep pulling the belly button in. Breathe. Engage, lengthen the tailbone a lot. And release. Relax. I know, right? It's just, we change things up because then we feel them slightly differently. And that's what's been fun about, I mean, it is fun. Like when I've had injuries, I've had to play with poses to see how can I work around this. And I discover new things each time. So while I don't consider my eye an injury, it definitely is a modification that requires a modification. All right, side B. Either the hand onto the knee and you just push up. So Ruby, I think just sitting up, you feel this, right? Oh yeah, you're really feeling it there. This is, she's like, turn your head around, don't look at me. Avert your eyes, lady, avert your eyes. All right, so you can stay right here. I'm feeling plenty here. And I notice what I'm doing is smashing my low back into the floor and popping my ribs out. So reverse that. The low back lightens against, it's touching the blanket, but it's lightening against the blanket. And then the side ribs moving down towards the blanket a lot. Try to even really press your back ribs into the blanket without pressing your back waist into it. Whew. And then if you want more, half beach babe with the right arm, keep the pressure up. And you can release a little bit and re-engage. And then if the right leg is straight, it can stay on the floor, it can hover up. If you're feeling any pain in the low back, it means you bypassed your abdominal core, the side core work. And so you have to back it off a bit until you can re-engage. And think about cinching a drawstring around your waist, so back, side, front. You're pulling all parts of the waistline in. Oof. And breathe. You can keep the head down. If you're feeling this in the neck, don't engage the head. Just keep the hand behind the head and maybe lift the heart a bit and the head gets a little lighter. If you feel this in the neck muscles, which I often do when the core stops, then you've got to back off and find it. Breathe. Keep pressing the block into the leg into the block. Oh, and release. Whew. Shake off. All right, round two, a little bit of oblique side core muscle. But I love that image of cinching the waistline in 360 all the way around. So when you pull a drawstring around your waist, you don't just pull it in the front, it cinches all the way around. And feeling that for me, I found it yesterday. I liked it. All right, now with this one, a couple of options. Draw your right knee up, but your left hand or your left elbow. So you're crossing over. And then another version of this, if you got it, is to straighten the leg and the hand to the leg. So it's either block on the thigh, the elbow or hand on the block, as we did, but you're just crossing opposite hand and leg, or you're doing it straight. And then half beach babe. All right, you know the drill. Press the leg into the hand and leg into the block evenly. Pull the belly button in, and here with the legs straight, my back waist is really pushing against the blanket. So you're trying to lift it. It won't lift a lot, but you're engaging, cinch that waistline all the way around. And then again, to make it a tiny bit harder, you can keep the left knee bent, but lift the head a little bit. Support, your head's heavy into your hand. And you can extend the left leg, hover it off the floor if you want more. Once you feel this in the low back, you've lost that love and feeling, so you've got to back it off. Keep pushing the block. Oh, anybody done with this yet? Yeah. All right, shake it off. Woo. And just thankfully, the great gratitude is just one more side. All right, again, it can be with the knee bent. This works too, and you can do all the other versions. This is fine. In fact, this works differently, not better or less, but just differently. Or elbow to block if you're on your thigh, or extend the leg, have it up on the shin. In any case, put your half beach babe in with your left hand and breathe here. So you can add any of these features. You can customize this to fit you. And just noticing here, I got to get my back waist a little lighter and my side back ribs a little heavier. Wow, that's enough. And then if you want to lift the heart a little bit, if the head gets a tiny bit lighter, keep the head heavy in the hand, and then maybe straighten the right leg, maybe not. As soon as I straighten the right leg, I kind of left off with the pressure. So got to come back. It really works the quadricep here. Oh. Breathe. Oh. Oh. Windshield wiper, shake off any way that feels good. Hallelujah. Allison's gone to start class with her grandson. So we get to slide into final relaxation. So what I like about having this little tea blanket, it's a very sweet Shavasana to do because it lifts you up just enough that you don't have to worry about arching the back and the back of the thighs come to the floor. If you're sitting, doing seated meditation in a chair, sit well, support your back with a blanket. Rest your hands on your thighs if you're seated. Wherever you are, close your eyes and let it all drop away from you. Begin to deepen your breath. Stretching, yawning, anything your body wants, moving any way. Bend your knees, roll to your side, and rest there for a few moments. Enjoying this tiny little moment of being fully present. Mind, body, and heart. And then pressing up, come to a seated position. Sit well. Draw your palms together in front of the heart center. Thanks for experimenting with me today and every day. Love you guys. Namaste.